So essentially, with between your affordances and denials, figure out in your metrics what speaks to the player in that they can do something and what speaks to the player that they can't, and try to remove spaces that are kind of in the middle that are confusing as far as the language goes. So here is essentially our cover guidelines for Uncharted 4, where essentially we have it so that we can have ledges, or we can have objects that are 0.5 meters and below that clearly read as not cover. So when you are in combat and you're looking for a place to take cover, you might see one of these objects and be like, okay, that's not it. Or this doesn't include everything. We also had, okay, maybe if there's a pile of something, having a smooth transition instead of these rectilinear transitions is something that reads as something that you can't take cover on. And then we have basically a buffer zone here between what is absolutely considered not cover and what is considered cover, sort of in the low cover range, where we try to make sure that there's nothing that actually fits that profile, because it's confusing to the player. So now in the low cover range, we've got basically between 0.9 meters and I think 1.25 meters, and that is what's allowed for low cover. Anything above there, actually, we'd have trouble because Nathan Drake wouldn't be able to do low cover aiming over. So anyway, so essentially everything between this range and this range we try to eliminate. And then up here is essentially starting at 1.75, we have high cover. And so one of the troubles with, so if we had something that's about this height, is that it would probably look like high cover, but if you stand and take cover on it, Drake's head would actually stick up above it, and you would expect enemies to be able to see and shoot you. So that's why we sort of enforce, nothing sort of in this range. So that's called buffering, essentially. So the example that I was showing earlier, this right here, Nathan Drake, for instance, can actually jump up 3.5 meters. So as you can see, this is just a little bit above that. So if this was Uncharted, for instance, this almost feels like it's a little bit of a tease. Like it feels like I'd run over there and try to jump up and I would fail, because this doesn't clearly deny my ability to climb up there. But as I was pointing out, for a case like this, it's much higher. Maybe it's a little bit too high. You maybe don't need to go up that high, but this clearly does deny the affordance of being able to climb up here. And so the idea here is that as the player sort of looks at your level spaces, again from Uncharted 4, they're able to sort of break this apart into what what rewards are out there, what risks are there, what allows them affordance, and what denies them affordance. So looking here, let's see, these rocks up here, looks like there could be some sort of reward if you're able to get to the top of it, but these cliff walls deny the affordance of being able to climb up it. So for right now, I'm sort of thinking that's in the background, or far ahead in the time that I'm going to be able to actually get up there. Over here, I see this waterfall, and waterfalls typically tempt the player because everyone has seen the secret behind the waterfall sort of thing in lots of games, like Zelda, for instance. And so this is sort of essentially has the affordance to be able to get behind it. And there seems like there's a high amount of reward for doing it. And even though it looks like there's quite a risk for driving all over there, because as I'm looking at this space, I'm seeing there's a bridge over here which affords me to be able to get up to this higher space, which is my end goal. So right now I'm looking left at this decision to go left at this waterfall, and right over here at the decision to use this bridge, this affordance. And right now I sort of have to make this choice. Is it better to go left and risk whether or not I'm actually going to find something, or is it better to go right and just continue on? So that's just kind of what the player is sort of deciding here. And especially, I mean, in this situation, the player does have a Jeep, and it's a lot faster for him to get over here than if you were walking or something like that. So maybe if you were walking and you were getting tired of walking across these large plains, you would probably choose to go the most direct path to your goal, because it wouldn't be worth it for you to walk over here and risk possibly wasting your time. So, you know, essentially, when we create compositions like this, what are the shapes specifically speaking out to us? It's almost kind of like our shapes are our palette, and as the player sort of checks this out, they start to learn that you know, these objects are sort of blocking out. These are denials of affordance. Here's an affordance. Here's the areas that may have reward behind them because they're blocking some things. So, you know, how does the player essentially break down your space and decide where they want to go? And how do you, as the designer, design these shapes with the player's intent in mind, the player's reward, risk, affordance, and denial?